Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to do something kind of different. Since AI is going to be our overlords and pretty much control all of us here in the next few years, I figure we might as well do something fun with it right now, um, where it takes over everything. And I'm going to just talk to it about some Star Wars today, kind of see what opinions it has. I think I was kind of messing around with this earlier to kind of see what kind of stuff it was coming up with, and it's kind of entertaining. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. This is also my first time kind of getting into something like this in quite a while. So let me know if my setup is working properly or not. Right now it's saying that it's not getting enough video to maintain a smooth stream, which is ridiculous because I have pretty high upload speed on my internet, but we'll kind of see how this goes. But anyways, so the first thing that I wanted to do was to ask it a question. Let's see. Let's think of something kind of a softball throw for a Star Wars question for Chat-GPT. And if you don't know about Chat-GPT, it's actually fairly intelligent. Well, it's not really intelligent, but it's a fairly good algorithm for coming up with different ideas, and you can actually use it to like write papers. And actually I'll put this way, I tried getting it to write a book for me, and even though it came up with some good ideas, it definitely is not at that level where it can actually legitimately write a book for you right now. So, but it is pretty intelligent. Let's see, who is the most powerful Jedi ever? Let's see what it says. Determining the most powerful Jedi ever is a matter of opinion and can vary depending on the criteria used to evaluate their abilities. However, some Jedi who are often considered to be among the most powerful include Yoda. Yoda was a legendary Jedi master who was known for his wisdom and exceptional mastery of the Force. He was one of the most skilled duelists and was able to hold his own against powerful Sith Lords. I can agree with that. Luke Skywalker. Luke was the last Jedi Knight and was able to restore the Jedi Order after it was been destroyed by the Empire. Last Jedi Knight, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this is one of the problems that George Lucas had, was that he came up with this concept that Luke was going to be the last Jedi, and then there was nobody else, and then he kind of backed himself into a corner in writing, and undid that a little bit with the Clone Wars, or with Star Wars Rebels. Well, no, he didn't have much. He didn't have anything to do with Rebels, did he? I'm trying to think. Is there anything? What would? Well, I guess Ahsoka. I mean, if his intention was that Ahsoka lived, um, she wasn't really a Jedi. So maybe in George Lucas's mind, Luke really was the last Jedi. So that's very very possible. Okay, let's go on with that. He was exceptionally powerful in the Force, was able to defeat Darth Vader in combat. Very true. Mace Windu. Mace Windu is a highly skilled fighter and one of the most powerful members of the Jedi Council. He was known for his mastery of Vapid, I think it's how they pronounce it, a unique lightsaber form that allowed him to channel his inner darkness into a weapon against the dark side. Any hope for Battlefront 3? I think there's always hope. Star Wars Celebration Europe is this coming month, I think. And I'm actually kind of excited about. Let's see if ChatGPT knows. When is Star Wars Celebration Europe? And actually, we'll ask ChatGPT what it thinks about Battlefront 3. Is it going to tell us? Nah, it doesn't tell us when but it's this next month. Yeah, if I will get a PS5 if Battlefront 3 does come out. Let's see. What are the chances that Battlefront 3 gets released? I'll come back to the last one. My knowledge cutoff date of September 20. As of that time, there have been no official announcements or confirmations from EA, the current publisher of the Battlefront game. Any speculative battle I could. Okay, so that's not going to tell us much. So here's the thing: is Battlefield was a absolute disaster and a failure for EA, and the whole thing is the reason why they came out with Battlefield. What is it? Battlefield 2042 instead of Battlefront 3 is that Battlefield is their own IP. So whatever money they make off that, they make off of that. Whereas with Battlefront 2, Battlefront 3, or whatever, they have to share some of that profit with Lucasfilm. So in their mind, it made more sense for them to put the effort and the resources into Battlefield. However, since it failed, I think that there's a chance. I mean, they've already got some of the infrastructure they use to make kind of the next generation, or in their mind, the next generation first-person shooter. I'm sure that they can use some of that, and then some of the people that worked on that to work on a Battlefront 3. So I think they probably have some of the resources together for that. So I've got to think that there's a chance that it will come out, but I just want to, I'm crossing my fingers that we'll get an answer to that in this next month at Star Wars Celebration. But this is honestly, okay, this is what I honestly think is going to happen. Gosh, why is my stream lagging when my internet is just fine? Hold on just a second. I'm going to see if I'm having some speed issues with my internet. Speed test. We're going to do that real quick. This is how I think the next Battlefront 3-ish, or that type of game is going to come out. I think that there will be a multiplayer game kind of like Battlefront 2 in the next couple years, or at least announced in the next couple years. I just don't know that it'll be called Battlefront 3, and I don't know that EA will be involved with that. Other thing is, I think with Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, that kind of shows us that they can do a really good job with the storytelling aspect of these Star Wars games. But I think that they're going to do separate. I think that we're going to have our games like that are like the Jedi Fallen Order series as storytelling, and then we're going to have what we have with Battlefront 3, if it comes out, or that type of game, will be just multiplayer without a story mode, which I would be totally cool with. And I also think that we'll get something that will be, if not free, pretty cheap for that. And it will basically, it'll be kind of freemium, but not pay to win, but more like pay to get cool skins that you can't get anywhere else. That you basically need to pay to be able to get these skins or whatnot. And to be honest with you, if they did that, I would be willing to buy some of those skins just to be able to keep them working on the game. This is the thing too, is like people have always, some people have wondered if we should, or if they should like start working on Battlefront 2 again. And this is the thing is, why would they? The only way that they would possibly even think about doing that is if they were going to make some money off of it. And the only way they're going to make more money off of Battlefront 2 is if they find a way for people to pay for new content. And maybe not new content, new maps, new characters, but at least in some ways of them being able to make money off of skins and all that type of stuff. But I think that the next multiplayer game like that for Star Wars will be something they'll plan on having, or working on for 6 or 7 years, as far as like continuing to update it, with them having some kind of way of generating revenue throughout the life of the game while it's a live service. So Mace Windu, we're talking about the most powerful Jedi. And let's see. Yeah, this is the thing is, sometimes I struggle to separate Mace Windu's power with how much I just think he was an asshole. But I'm not a huge Mace Windu fan. I mean, if he wasn't such a cold-hearted prick, maybe Anakin doesn't fall to the dark side. He basically was a complete dickhead to Ahsoka. Like, Mace Windu just wasn't a cool guy, in my opinion. He's probably one of the examples of why the Jedi Order needed to be reset. Maybe not end, but needed to be reset at that point because they were becoming way too stuck on themselves and rigid in the way that they looked at things. But yeah, but very powerful, extremely good duelist. I can't believe that there wasn't Mace Windu didn't make it into Battlefront 2. That's, if you look at these, four that Chat-GPT brought up for most powerful Jedi, and Mace Windu is the only one that's not in Battlefront 2. And then number 4, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker is one of the most powerful Jedi of his time, but ultimately fell to the dark side and became Darth Vader. As a Sith Lord, he was even more powerful, but his inner conflict ultimately led to his downfall. There's always been kind of this question mark of, would Anakin have been more powerful if he would have stayed at the light, or did going to the dark side increase his power? And I think in some ways he became more powerful when we go to the dark side, but he also lost part of his body. And since the living force is you can't be completely robotic or an android or anything like that and have the force. So every part of your body that isn't there is going to diminish your force abilities just a little bit. So I think, if this is my opinion, hey Luke, I'll answer that here in just a second. I think if Anakin would have stayed, or if Anakin would have fallen to the dark side without Obi-Wan cutting off his limbs, I think that would have been the most powerful version of Darth Vader / Anakin. It would have been the most powerful Force user of all time. What I think coming back, dude, I was so excited. So I don't think I would have realized who that was if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't watch the episode until after I got off work, and I saw some YouTube thumbnails that kind of led me to understand that Ahmad Best was going to be in the episode. So when he showed up, I'm like, okay, there he is. There's the Jar Jar actor. So I was really excited when I saw him. And the thing is, I don't know who it was, but I saw somebody saying that they weren't impressed with his moves, with the choreography. I thought he did really, really well. I thought he was very powerful. Character wise, I think that he did a great job of acting in that. And I would call him awesome. I would love to see him in some kind of other media. I'm guessing he doesn't survive. Probably. I'm sure they're going to show him die here in the next couple episodes or whatever. So he's not going to be around during the Mandalorian time period. But it'd be cool to see him in some other kind of media. Why is my video okay? I'm probably gonna finish this up just a few more minutes and then end this stream, because for some reason I'm being laggy. But I'll finish this question. Would I call him awesome? Absolutely. But I think the more awesome thing is what this means for Ahmad Best, because he was somebody that was really down on himself. Yeah, he didn't deserve what he got from playing Jar Jar. In fact, that was absolutely ridiculous. And some people have said it would have been worse nowadays with the way social media is. But I think at the same time, he would have had access to the support that I think he would have gotten from a very vocal amount of people that would have been supporting him and understood that the actor and the character aren't the same person. So it would have been kind of interesting to see if it would have been worse or better for him if it would have happened nowadays with social media. I honestly think in some ways it may have been a little bit better, because he had to deal with all that in a vacuum. He didn't have access to all the people that did, I think, support him. But I think that was the greatest thing about that role, is that he got a chance to play a really awesome character instead of one that George Lucas just screwed up. George Lucas messed up with how he wrote Jar Jar Binks. And the fact that he honestly thought that was going to be the breakaway character from the prequels just shows you that Okay, this is what's kind of funny to me, and I'm kind of maybe going off a little bit of a tangent here. A lot of people think that George Lucas should have never have sold Star Wars slash Lucasfilm. That's not true. Now you could debate whether or not it would have been better if somebody else besides Disney purchased Star Wars, but George Lucas, he's a great world builder, but he's not a great writer. And some of his characters, even though he got really lucky, I think, with how well he wrote, Leia and Luke and Han and all that stuff, in the beginning, a lot of his other characters just kind of fell flat. Um, Clone Troopers is one of the best things to happen to Star Wars. I think the Clone Wars and what they did for the clones, and really humanizing them, is one of the best things that ever happened to Star Wars. It's kind of cool in any kind of medium, when you get background characters, and especially ones that were kind of just throwaways in the main medium, which would be the movies, and give them an actual personality and show that they're just not just cannon fodder. The way I look at it is, you watch a war movie, and you're watching certain characters that are the main characters, and you're rooting for them to survive, and you don't want them to die. But within that war movie, you see other people getting killed, left and right. And even though we don't know their stories, and they really don't mean anything to us when they die, in that fictional world, those characters had families. Those characters had hopes and dreams. Like, the next day they were going to get up and they were going to do something different with their lives, and they had hopes for after the war, and that's done as soon as they die. So with the clones, we see all of them killed, or we see a bunch of them killed in Attack of the Clones. We see a bunch killed in Revenge of the Sith, and then we see them turn on the Jedi. And there's so much more to them. They once again, I won't blame George Lucas on this one, because he didn't really have a whole lot of time to develop the clones in Revenge of the Sith. There was so much other stuff going on, and I do think he did a pretty good job with that movie. But those characters, we just didn't really care. Like, they turned on the Jedi, and that's just the story beat. There was no emotion to it. As far as we knew, at the point that Cody turned on Obi-Wan, that we as far as we knew, there was very little to no actual relationship between the clones and the Jedi, and we found out with the Clone Wars that was completely wrong. I would call Keller's role as Ahmad's saving grace. Yes, but no, because I think he, over the last few years, has really come to terms with what happened with Jar Jar. No, his saving grace is when I don't know which Star Wars celebration it was, but he went to one of the Star Wars celebrations that they convinced him to go, and he just got a round of applause and standing ovation that really made him understand that there was hope in humanity. That was his saving grace. That's when he realized that he didn't have to be ashamed of his portrayal of Jar Jar anymore. Even though, I don't know, is there any articles or any interviews where he's said what his actual thoughts on Jar Jar are? I know he's not happy with, how people reacted to his portrayal of Jar Jar, but I guess I've never seen whether or not he has an actual, opinion on whether or not Jar Jar was a good character or not. Hey, Game Pulse, how you doing? Hey, what's up? What's up, Bailout? So I'd be kind of interested to see if Ahmad Best was one of those that really thought, when he was, done with his role as Jar Jar, that he knocked it out of the park, and that this was such a great character and great role, and then he was maybe upset with the fact that other people didn't see it, or if he's